My friend and colleague Dennis Prager has a big night tonight planned. And I've sort of been thinking about Dennis's position about coronavirus and the economic catastrophe that America is currently facing because of the government's decision to shut America down as a result of the deaths and the illness and the suffering. Uh, Tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, there will be a big Facebook live event called Not Allowed to Laugh, Free Speech and the Death of Comedy. And this is from the creators of No Safe Spaces, Dennis's terrific movie about the attack on free speech, the attempt to silence conservatives on college campuses. It's a wonderful movie. You can get the movie, by the way. You go to nosafespaces.com or go to my website, mikeonline.com. You'll see the No Safe Spaces huge banner there on the website. If you use the promo code SAVE25, you'll save 25% while supplies last at nosafespaces.com. And tonight at 7 o'clock, our Salem colleague Eric Metaxas and the stars of No Safe Spaces, Dennis Prager and Adam Carolla, will have a lively hour-long conversation about the state of comedy and free speech. So you don't want to miss that. To be part of the event, just follow No Safe Spaces on Facebook. Dennis has been saying throughout this entire economic lockdown that it's the biggest mistake in the history of the country, in the history of the world. We've never made a bigger mistake as a country. He always clarifies it too. It's always a little interesting to me that Dennis wants to, and he says, I'm not saying it's the most evil thing. I think it's because people pushed back when he said that originally, and they said, what about the Holocaust? What about slavery? He's not saying it's the most evil thing. He's saying it's the biggest mistake that we've ever made. And it's really fascinating to me how many people are starting to agree with him. There's a lot of people starting to agree with his assessment. Last night, Tucker Carlson pointed something out about Dr. Anthony Fauci. Now, Fauci has been just the face of this. He's been the guy who's briefing the president. He yesterday testified before the Senate, and he was, as predicted and as reported before he even testified, warning that if we open too soon, it'll be a disaster.
That if some areas, cities, states, or what have you, jump over those various checkpoints and prematurely open up without having the capability of being able to respond effectively and efficiently, my concern is that we will start to see little spikes that might turn into outbreaks.
Now, the Democrats, of course, ran with that, and the big headline in the mainstream media, the bash Trump, hate conservative media, was, Fauci warns that we're opening too soon. Going to be death, despair. And, I said something, I've been saying something about Fauci all along. I don't know that he's a nefarious guy. I don't think he's evil. I don't know that I agree with some of the characterizations of him. Even Tucker last night, in the clips that we're about to play for you, I think he referred to him at one point as a buffoon. And what I know is that Dr. Fauci hasn't been elected to anything. What I know is he doesn't have any accountability. It's a little bit like the weatherman. That's a great gig, because you can predict weather all you want. If you're wrong, it's like, oh, well, we missed. But so there's no accountability, really, when you think about it. But when you have to make a payroll, there's accountability. When you have a business that you've poured 30 or 40 years of your life into, there's accountability. It's the difference between a lack of accountability and accountability that I think bothers millions of Americans about Dr. Fauci and his role. And what Tucker Carlson did last night was pretty dramatic in terms of reminding us what Dr. Fauci has said and his enormously inconsistent track record. And I believe it's fair. We're going to dive into that for you here as we kick things off on a Wednesday edition of the Mike Gallagher Show in the ReliefFactor.com studios. You'll also hear Senator Rand Paul really push back against Dr. Fauci. That happened during the Senate testimony yesterday. And I want you to hear why people are so skeptical of Dr. Fauci, who has really been leading the charge in giving President Trump and the administration the advice that led to the government's decision to destroy our economy. Again, I've never said coronavirus is the flu. It's not a cold. It's serious. We've had well over 80,000 deaths, terrible illnesses. One guy, the Broadway star Nick Cordero, great news about his case if you follow that online. He woke up yesterday. He's been in a coma for 6 weeks, had his leg amputated. Young Broadway actor. His wife has been doing updates on social media, but he opened his eyes. There might be, a great recovery for that young man. But this is real. I'm not trying to minimize coronavirus, but we can't minimize destroying the country's economy and the lifeblood of it, small business owners and people who are in bad shape right now. We're going to tackle that, and I want to break down what Tucker said about Dr. Fauci. I think it was pretty astute, but maybe you don't agree. We're going to find out. 800-655-MIKE. Welcome in the ReliefFactor.com studios. Great having you here. 800-655-MIKE. Press 1 to come on air with us, 2 to leave a voicemail message. You can always text us your comments to the MyPillow text line, which is also 800-655-MIKE. Did you know how inconsistent and contradictory Dr. Anthony Fauci's messages to Americans have been? We're going to show you next.